All right, welcome back everyone to another Explainer. Today we're diving into the life of a man who literally outdreamed the future. We're talking about an absolute visionary, a true maverick, and honestly, arguably one of the greatest minds to ever walk the earth. This is the story of Nikola Tesla, and let me tell you, it plays out like a science fiction novel, except every single bit of it is true. So, let's just jump right in.
I want to start by throwing a simple question your way. Whose dreams actually power our modern world? Think about it for a second. Every single time you walk into a dark room and flip a light switch or plug in your phone charger, who are you really relying on? We take all this invisible, humming power totally for granted now, but it wasn't always like this. Somebody actually had to figure out how to bottle lightning.
I mean, think about the smartphone in your pocket right now. The electric car is silently gliding down the highway, or just the glowing, vibrant skylines of literally every modern city on the planet. The crazy part is, all of these incredible modern conveniences tied directly back to the visionary ideas of just one man. The stakes of his life's work really couldn't be any higher, because without him, our world just flat out wouldn't look the way it does today.
Okay, Section 1, The Child of Light, a mythic origin. To really get this guy, we have to understand where he started, and it's practically a myth.
Legend has it that Tesla was born back in 1856 in what is now modern-day Croatia, but it wasn't just, a normal Tuesday. He was born at the exact stroke of midnight during this fierce, terrifying lightning storm. The midwife attending the birth was actually so frightened by the violent storm outside that she called it a bad omen. She flat out declared, "He will be a child of darkness."
But his mother immediately fired back with this incredibly profound counter-prediction. She looked at her newborn son and simply said, "No, he will be a child of light." I love that. It beautifully sets the stage for Tesla's entire destiny, right? Born in the electricity of a storm, and he'd spend the rest of his life chasing it.
And as he grew up, it became pretty obvious his brain just didn't work like everyone else's. He possessed a photographic memory, but it went way beyond just memorizing books. His mind was so incredibly sharp that he could visualize entirely complex machines in his head. He completely assemble them, run them, test them in his mind's eye, all before he ever picked up a pencil. After studying engineering and surviving a genuinely deadly bout of cholera, he finally set his sights on America.
Which brings us to a pretty remarkable number, 4 cents. When Nikola Tesla arrived in New York City in 1884, he had exactly 4 pennies to his name. That was literally it. Well, 4 cents, and one incredibly important letter of recommendation addressed to the most famous inventor in America at the time, Thomas Edison.
And that drops us right into Section 2, the War of Edison versus Tesla, an absolute clash of titans. This is where things get incredibly dramatic. The entire future of global infrastructure is about to be fought over by these two industry giants.
So Tesla initially goes to work for Edison, but their core philosophies clashed right from day one. You've got Edison, who was this highly pragmatic, cutthroat businessman pushing direct current, or DC. And then you have Tesla, the elegant, visionary dreamer who absolutely knew, that the true future of power was alternating current, or AC. They were complete opposites. A collision was totally inevitable. And the breaking point snapped over $50,000. Edison had challenged Tesla to improve his DC motors, promising this massive $50,000 bonus if he pulled it off. Tesla, being the genius he was, completely redesigned them. But when he went to collect his reward, Edison just flat out refused to pay. He basically dismissed the whole thing as a joke, telling Tesla he just didn't understand American humor. Yeah, feeling totally betrayed by that cruel financial slap in the face, Tesla quit on the spot.
What followed was just a brutally bitter corporate battle. Edison played dirty, launching nasty smear campaigns to convince the public that Tesla's alternating current was deadly. But AC could travel massive distances without losing power, and Tesla just let the technology do the talking. He decisively won the war by safely and beautifully lighting up the entire 1893 Chicago World's Fair. He didn't just win a contract that day, he literally won the battle for how the whole modern world would be powered.
Moving on to Section 3, a wireless world, beyond wires. Because for Tesla, conquering the power grid was honestly just step 1.
See, he wasn't satisfied with just stringing power cables everywhere. He wanted to give the world something completely unprecedented, free, wireless energy. To pull this off, he started building Wardenclyffe Tower in New York. We're talking about a staggering structure designed to pull ambient energy right out of the earth and beam it wirelessly to any point on the globe. It was an astonishingly bold concept.
And just think about how far ahead of his time he was. In 1901, Tesla was actively talking about a pocket-sized receiver that could wirelessly pull in music, news, and even pictures from around the world. Does that sound familiar? Let that sink in for a second. A full century before it existed, Nikola Tesla essentially predicted the smartphone. He saw our present day with absolute clarity.
But his towering ambition was also kind of his downfall. The business world simply couldn't figure out how to put a meter on free, wireless air. Financiers realized they couldn't monetize it, so they pulled out. Wardenclyffe Tower was eventually demolished to pay off debts, and Tesla's beautiful dream of a wireless world was cruelly dismissed by the public as just mad science.
Which brings us to Section 4, Eccentricity and the Fall, the Forgotten Genius. As the 20th century roared forward, ironically powered by the very alternating current he championed, the world slowly started turning its back on him.
As he got older and more isolated, his quirks really deepened into intense eccentricities. He developed this compulsive obsession with the number 3, doing everything in sets of 3s. He harbored this intense phobia of pearls, to the point of refusing to speak to women wearing them. And as human companionship faded away, he found solace in feeding birds, developing a really profound, peculiar love for one specific white pigeon. It's a remarkably melancholic decline for a guy who used to hold the universe in his mind.
And it all culminated in this tragic reality in 1943. Nikola Tesla died completely alone in room 3327 of the New Yorker hotel. He was 86 years old, virtually penniless, and the world had largely just moved on without him.
And even in death, there was this final indignity. Immediately after he passed, his hotel room was raided. His life's work, trunks full of complex scientific papers and unbuilt theories, were seized by the FBI under the Alien Property Act. The man who wanted to give his knowledge freely to humanity had his final secrets locked away by the government.
But history has a funny way of correcting the record, doesn't it? Section 5, Tesla's Future, a Lasting Legacy. For decades, he was just a footnote, completely overshadowed by Edison. But not anymore.
Today, his vindication is absolute. His name is literally everywhere. It's the world's most famous and valuable electric car company. It's the standard scientific unit of magnetic measurement. And the foundational alternating current and radio technologies he pioneered, they're powering the very rockets we use for modern space exploration. Edison might have won the history books in the 1900s, but Tesla completely conquered the 2000s.
The thing is, Tesla never really cared about the money, and he definitely didn't care about the immediate fame. He knew exactly what he was doing. He once said, "The present is theirs. The future, for which I really worked, is mine." Talk about an ultimate mic drop, right? He knew the world would eventually have to catch up to his mind. And looking around today, he was absolutely right.
We are undeniably living in Tesla's future. So the final takeaway I want to leave you all with today is this. Knowing what one single man's vision can do to shape the entire globe, what will you dream up for ours? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you on the next one.